Hi, I'm Kevin Hunter, host of the Business Forum Show. We talk to successful business people every single day, and I'd like to share with you a concept that the most successful business people understand. Every one of us as human beings carry two attitudes with us. We call them the victor or the victim. Now, all of us understand and know people around us with one or the other attitudes, but each of us have those attitudes inside of us really at all times. Which one comes out the most has a lot to do with which one we feed the most. So let's talk first about victors. Victors are really what I call the winners in life. They persevere no matter what happens. If they're faced with tragedy, the first thing they ask is, well, what's the solution? Unfortunately, this happened. What do we do about it? They never quit. They're accountable to the extent that they should be. You never have to look for them when it comes to responsibility. The other interesting element about victors is they forgive easily. And what does it tell you about them? Is that they don't live in the past. They live in the present and in the future. And victors do what they don't feel like doing. So think about somebody, even an exercise program. How does a victor approach an exercise program versus a victim? Well, a victor will do it even when they don't feel like doing it, because that does happen. Victims say, I'm too tired, or, the kids came home late, or I got interrupted, and so I just can't do it. I'll do it some other time, which usually ends up being never. Now let's talk about the victims for just a little bit, because many of us are actually more familiar with the characteristics of the victim than we are the victor. Now, we're talking about the difference between winners and whiners, right? Well, the victims really are the whiners. They have excuses for absolutely everything that happens. They're the ones who are always saying, woe is me. And when something happens, they expect their friends to go, oh, Bill, that's just too bad. I feel sorry for you. They're really looking for somebody to enable the victim attitude that they have inside them. And when they tell you things that happen in their life, they'll start by saying, you're never going to believe what happened to me again. They have the idea and the attitude that everyone's out to get them. Do you know anybody like that? The conspiracy theorists? Those are the victims. The other interesting thing about victims is that, quite different than victors, victims hold grudges. Why? Because they live in the past. They look at things that happened to them, problems and hurdles and bumps they ran into the road, in situations they create and with other people they knew before. And they hold grudges forever. If they felt they were wronged by somebody, it doesn't matter if it's 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They still hate them, still dislike them, never trust them, never change. And they exclude friends who actually would give them honest feedback. They don't just have the horse blinders on. They have blinders that extend several feet out from their heads. And when people talk to them that give them feedback that they really need to hear, they eventually exclude those friends from their circle of influence. Know anybody like that? So let me ask you, do you have any idea who wins in your life when faced with tragedy and faced with real challenges? Do you have any idea which attitude is going to prevail for you? Well, it has everything to do with the people you associate with, the books you read, those you allow to have influence in your life. And it depends a lot on the things that you say to yourself when nobody else is listening. When you've got nobody to impress, but just yourself to convince. What do you say to yourself? The bottom line is, who wins, the victor or the victim, has everything to do with who you feed the most. I'm Kevin Hunter here on the Business Forum Show. Thanks for listening.